Hi, doc students. I wanted to share a planning document that I utilized for my holistic dissertation planning, but I also wanted to really focus in on trustworthiness. So what was really helpful when I was really focusing in on my specific chapter 3, I created kind of an organization structure that I was able to share with members of my committee, specifically my methodologist. So in this program, you may share this document, especially with your LDFM, but if there's another member that you feel is really an expert within the methods that you're using, I would specifically share this document and collaborate with them. So I really start first by looking at the assumptions of my specific study. So again, because my dissertation was qualitative in nature, there's no hypothesis, but I do have some assumptions which are influencing the overall purpose and direction of my study. So you see how the rationale, justification, assumptions influences the purpose. And then you also see how that transitions into my research questions. So what I ended up doing here was I outlined my specific research questions and then the specific data sources that I was going to be using that was going to influence how I was going to get that data to answer my research questions. And again, you see that my methodologist did provide me some feedback throughout. So then I move into research design, and I was specifically utilizing a multiple case study design. So I go into recruitment, and because this is a case study, I need to be really specific in terms of how I am defining and binding my case. And then additionally, I really wanted to define why it was that I was targeting my specific sample. So I again paired my sample criteria with specific evidence from the text. So I move into my specific data sources, and you see again, with each data source, I am providing methodological citations. So I'm supporting or justifying my specific methods with support from the literature. So I then go into specific data collection procedures. And this is really the heart of your chapter 3, so you want to be very specific. And then I move into data analysis. So similarly to your data collection, you want to be able to specifically name the specific analysis procedures that you're going to be utilizing. You can use methodological citations to support your thinking. But again, this should be something that is very detailed oriented. So when I was first doing this, I thought I was going to do phenomenological design. And then as I was working through it, I transitioned to multiple case study, and my methodologist, you'll see, suggested a basic interpretive thematic analysis. So I just wanted you to see how even when you're going through this process, it's okay to transition within your data sources or your data analysis procedures. So in terms of my process, I'm describing the multiple steps that I am going to go through in my process. What I really want to focus on with all of you is this idea of trustworthiness. So again, when we think about trustworthiness, this is really how we are addressing the value and significance of the qualitative research, because there is a lot of questions as to the validity of qualitative research, just because when we think about quantitative research, there obviously is numerical data to back up hypotheses. And for qualitative, it's a little bit different because we're looking at perceptions or experiences. So we have to be able to use a set of criteria to make sure that that our study is of value and is of significance. So in the lesson, you are going to see that there are 4 categories when we think about trustworthiness and potential issues of trustworthiness. So we really want to, as qualitative researchers, seek to control for potential biases that may be present throughout the design, implementation of an analysis within the study. So there's certain criteria that we could use in order to, or strategies, I should say, in order to address these potential issues within trustworthiness. So for example, you will see, I want to be able to share a little bit. So in 703, you saw this document or this table within an open forum when you were looking at art-based research. So these are the 4 major categories when we think about trustworthiness. And additionally, I provided this table that has each of these categories, as well as some research strategies to address potential biases or issues within trustworthiness. So I just wanted to share this with you so that you would be able to use it when you are deciding which strategies might be most appropriate for your study. So in terms of my study, because I'm using a lot of interviews and focus groups, I thought member checking was a really appropriate strategy to utilize. So following the transcription of the interviews of each participant, as well as the focus group, I stated that I was going to send an electronic message with a copy of the transcript in order to address any misinterpretation. So this is providing the participants an opportunity to go back and ask questions or state like, yes, this was misinterpreted, or just agree with what was transcribed. Additionally, another way that you can member check is actually sending even like a concept map with your major themes to your participants and see if they are plausible. So that's member checking. So if we were going to go back to member checking, you see that member checks is a way that we are looking specifically at credibility. So we want to make sure that what we have transcribed is credible within our participants. Reflexivity is another strategy that I thought was really important within my study. This is because I aligned to my participants and my own personal identity as a white female school-based administrator who worked at the elementary level. So in order to address those reflexivity threats, I was able to elicit the support of a co-facilitator that varied in demographic dimension. So that was a way that I was able to address reflexivity. Peer debriefing. So you see, I called it peer review, but my methodologist said peer debriefing. I did have a co-facilitator that was with me throughout my interviews and focus groups, as well as serving as a co-facilitator for the data analysis. So his role was really to talk through the analysis procedures. We had discussions about what we were finding. We were able to ask each other questions. So this was a way that we were really able to kind of engage in talking about the emerging findings and interpretations. Another one that I'll talk about is triangulation. So within the chart, you also see that triangulation is a way that we are addressing credibility, dependability, and confirmability. So when we think about triangulation, this is looking at multiple sources of data. So it's not just looking at one specific data source, but multiple. So within my study, I was looking at interviews, job descriptions, course syllabi, field notes, and memos. So again, the use of triangulation is really to strengthen internal and construct validity. And you see that I cited this within this document that I was using. Now, I just wanted to show you what this actually looks like when we're transferring from more of like an outline view to actual like narrative view. So trustworthiness is after when you talk about specific analysis and analysis procedures. So within trustworthiness, so this is my proposal. So you'll see that I am talking about this in future tense because I actually haven't conducted anything within my study yet. So within my introductory paragraph of trustworthiness, I talk about incorporating the following strategies. So I talk about member checking, reflexivity, peer debriefing, rich descriptions, and triangulation. So each one of these subsequent paragraphs is going to be focusing in on one specific strategy to strengthen the validity within the study. And again, there's nothing wrong with like thinking, oh, I'm going to use these strategies, and then you end up adding strategies. That's completely fine. So I just wanted you to see kind of what this looked like. And again, utilizing support from the literature, like methodological citations, is really going to strengthen what it is that you're talking about. So please reach out if you have any questions, and really excited to see what you all come up with.